No, they don't need to hear it now. You don't need this. Hello to all of you that are currently in here. We will start promptly at 1 EST or 2 EST. 2. Fuck. I'm still doing the math. 2 EST. We'll probably start. No one on stage yet. Okay, you guys will all be given your turn. You'll all be given your chance. And I guess thank you for coming and attending. This is just something small. I know it's spur of the moment. I had to wait till my voice came fully back, but I'll briefly go over it now. But I'll wait till 11 and we'll talk about the scheduling or like what we'd like to get across today. But just know that we're very hard at work for Rivals 4. It should be around the corner, and around the corner we can be literally anything. I can confirm for those of you here that it will your finals week for school and playoffs will not intersect. So you do not need to worry about that. I think it was time for us to, stray away from consistently trying to make y'all play during testing season. Is it going to be after May? I can't give you a firm answer. I think start time will be before May. It's just end time will be considerably after. And I'll go into more detail when we get this meeting going. Which will start anytime now. I'll wait for any stragglers. See what people may or may not want. Alrighty. Well, without further ado, welcome to this town hall. There's a great number of y'all that are here. I guess without further, we got our newest admin here in algebra, and we also have Biras here, serving as support. We are your admin team still. You can go ahead and
Hello.
take it away, algebra.
Yes. So, I'm part of the admin team. I have a considerable amount of tournament experience. I used to host like a gazillion, trillion tournaments back in like COVID. So I have the experience there, but I'm new to the Rivals community, and I'll probably be requiring the help of Tunk and other people who have helped shape this community to figure out what we want to do. So appreciate being here, and I hope to improve Rivals.
Fair. We welcome algebra with open arms. For many of y'all that I'm pretty sure all of you are somewhat aware. This last rival season probably not the most organized. I was brought in newly as an admin by Newt, Bova, and Bidas, and unfortunately we just seem to experience. Oh Lord, I have my alert box on. All right, turn that off. All right. Anyways, this last season was definitely no picnic. There were a lot of struggles that came with being a new admin and then kind of being thrust into making a lot of decisions alone. I tried to use BDOS whenever I could, but all in all, trying to run everything with just the two of us, and we have varying time zones as well. And BDOS already does so much with statistical, like with stats and inputting VODs and everything, that I tried to shoulder more of the work, and it just became it was a lot of work. We definitely needed new admins, and like I wasn't expecting Newt and Boba to both experience like some sort of rivals burnout towards the beginning of this season. So we tried to make do with what we had, considering that it was just me and BDOS. So very thankful that Algebra was able to come in, help, and hopefully lead us to a new and better season for Rivals coming up. I guess what we wanted to do here is we wanted to discuss briefly, like what we wanted to go over with all of you, and like some form of a Q&A segment, and talking about like your experiences through Rivals, and what we wanted to do with the direction of Rivals 4 compared based on your experience with Rivals 3. Obviously, like there were people that I appreciate everyone that filled out the Rivals feedback form. There were only 18 answers, and maybe like 16 of you or 17 of you took it seriously, but I still appreciate it nonetheless. It's all varying, so that's also good. But in a sense, I would like to have more consistency. So I guess we'll approach the first subject that I would like to talk about, in the sense that I would like to address map pools. So map pools here, I understand. Like this last season was the first time we ever did a map pool that was around the rank map pool, and so it made it easier for you to find scrims on Gangster, and just kind of I liked having a set. Me personally, I'll talk about how I feel, and then Algebra can talk about how he feels as well. But for me, having a set map pool allows for more strats to be used. It allows for there to be a less, it's less like ranked in a sense that like you're running it down and just trying to outshoot the team. There can actually be some set plays seen, and I kind of like that. But I understand the novelty of having a a custom pool, map pool, and being able to experience fracture more often, and wanting to just have the maps that you enjoy playing. Is there anyone? Here, hold on. I'll let Alger speak. What his thoughts are on the pool, map pool, and all that.
Mhm.
What he prefers, and then after that, if there's anyone that wants to come up and speak like their opinion, please do so, or raise your hand right
Yeah,
now. We'll
and
select you.
yeah, and you have like a few minutes to talk about the map pool. But I think last season, uh, we got pretty good feedback on, keeping a consistent map pool, keeping with competitive. There's a lot of like things like tools, even like Valo Plant and um like Tungsten was saying, like scrim platforms where it just makes sense to use the map pool to practice, etc. Right? So yeah, and I maybe we still want to consider some things, right? We're gonna look at this new rival season with consideration on things even as simple as map pool that maybe we figured out or not. But I think as we bring up some people, it's important to consider things like this, even as simple as map pool, and maybe even stay competitive, but add another element, even potentially like teams choosing the map pool or the community choosing the map pool, things like that. So yeah, Tunk, feel free to bring up whoever you desire.
All right, we're gonna bring up Rise first. Rise was first. All right, Rise.
Hello?
Give us your thoughts here.
Hello.
Wait, you
Um,
can you even speak,
no,
brother?
die. Okay, I'll try to speak. Um, I think the map pool is fine. I think using ranked was good because it creates a consistent way of scrimming and practicing the maps. Because well, when it was Rivals 2, right? Yeah, it was like the maps were always changing and not the same. It was kind of hard to see the players I was coaching like scrim play the matches because it just would change out of nowhere and we would just lose. But
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think ranked map pool is good.
I I
Um,
I think also like with the rank map pool, continuing a little bit, is that like if you wanted to practice something, it's something you could also practice in ranked like legitimately. Like if you wanted to work
yeah,
on a specific lineup, or you wanted to like hell if you wanted to like run a specific like play like an actual play like obviously the agents won't be the same in ranked, but like if you tell your players like and you're playing the same agent like hey I'm going to flash this area, I want two of you to go this way and one of you to go this way and stuff like that, then like it could be something like that. But for me I felt that like having the ranked map pool just allowed for a lot more consistency. All right, I saw Power, but then Power put his hand down, so we're gonna bring up Trudon. Oh, Power. Oh, is Power dead? Oh no, Power's not dead.
Hello?
Oh, hi.
Hello.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and speak.
Oh, is the quality bad? Wait, am I fine?
No. I had I personally had to turn you down, but you're good.
All right. Um, yeah, no, so I liked the idea of having a set map pool in Rivals 3. I thought, and I think general sentiment will agree here, like the level of play in Rivals 3 was higher than I think we've seen from really any other Rivals event in terms of maybe not aim, but certainly strategy and overall like understanding of how to play Valorant on a more team level, which I appreciated. Um, but I think my biggest problem with continuing with a ranked map pool, like a purely ranked map pool, is that it's not going to change from Rivals to Rivals 4, assuming we continue with a quicker timeline, like you mentioned, sometime starting before May. The map pool will probably only have two different maps, and I'm not sure if that's going to be the best considering how many people have already played on the five maps that will still be in the pool, and it's kind of going to seem maybe a bit stale, would be my worry there.
So I can understand your worry, but having if you go straight to if we look at like map playing statistics that BDOS has included lovingly at the end of every season, you'll see that like the same maps or the first two seasons in season 1 and season 2, the maps that saw the most playtime were Lotus and Haven. And like without a doubt with Lotus coming back, I guarantee you that you're just going to still see a shit ton of Lotus and Haven if we were to do um a a custom but like a custom but set map pool if that makes sense. So like I understand your worry about like having 5 of the same map, and especially since like the new map Corrode is being taken out for uh for Fracture, and then you're taking out Abyss as well for Lotus. And I can understand, and like also like Breeze is in the map pool, and everyone hates Breeze, but I have to imagine some team's gonna have to become Breeze merchants. I think that's just comes with the territory. However, it's just my thought because like I think no matter what you do, there's always going to be a bit of staleness because it's hard to always flip out all 7 maps for 7 new maps, if that makes sense. And there's always going to be maps that people hate, so they're also not going to be addressed. Like Icebox, Breeze. There's not a lot of Pearl fans. I know a lot of people don't like Abyss either. So right there, right, like just with that alone, you're down 4 maps. So then you're still stuck with a lot of repeated ones. So like every single season, like I will say with this last one, especially with Rivals 3, is the biggest like it's the most even distribution in terms of matches played on maps compared to the first 2 seasons. And like I was saying, those first 2 seasons, Haven and Lotus and like Ascent was a close third. But those 3 were by far and away the easily the most popular maps. And I think with Lotus coming back in, with Lotus and Haven still, I think you're going to still see that like those will be the favorite maps. Regardless if we were to do a custom map pool, those maps, one of those maps would have to be in as well. But like I said, I keep reiterating it, but like I understand what you mean that it's going to be stale. But that's where like if you can come up with new ideas for the map or new comps, and we're seeing that also in VCT. I like to see a lot of Waylay Yoru or Waylay ISO. I like to see what people try and copy some other strategies and comps. What
Yeah,
All right, fair
and
enough.
I'm just gonna add on a little bit. So I think it's really deciding between, okay, how much do we want, to favor maps that the community likes, and how much do we also want to make it more consistent, right? I mean, if let's say we figured out the 7 maps that the entire community likes, at the start of Rivals, it's going to feel stale by the end of Rivals. but also at the same time, it's not even considering things like when new agents come out, stuff like that, right? When new agents come out, it might be ridiculously broken on one map, and there's a reason why that agent came out, and Riot didn't keep a certain map at the same time. Things like that, right? So it's balancing that, and I think we'll consider these things. Um, Currently, we're probably going to look more forward to following the competitive queue, but it doesn't mean that we can't add some additional things like favorite maps that we like, or removing some ridiculous maps that Riot still keeps in the map pool, even though it shouldn't be. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if I could like kind of maybe reiterate what I was saying, because I think maybe I was a bit unclear. I was more concerned with keeping the map pool almost like too similar to what Rivals 3 was. Not necessarily that it's going to be still by the end of the season, because I do appreciate having that set map pool that doesn't change, that allows teams to get better and better over time. And we're
Mhm.
really sick the development like, oh, this team is great on Breeze, and they haven't lost on Breeze the entire season, and it's like a build storylines like that, which I appreciate a lot. But I'm more worried in the vein of like, Rivals 3 had 7 maps. If we start, depending on when we start Rivals 4, it's going to have um, 5 or 6 of those same exact maps in
I
the pool again. And
so
that's something that worrisome to me.
and I think that's a very valid worry. Like currently with the map pool now, it'd be 6 of the 7 maps are currently the same. Now we know when is it? Does anyone know when the next map pool's coming out?
I think right after Santiago. So it would be like probably, I mean, I don't know when Santiago ends, probably April.
Is that when the end of Santiago is? Is April?
Well, I mean, the start of stage 1, I think, is April. So,
Oh, I think it comes out before then. If I'm being honest. Let's see.
Yeah,
I mean, it's some
we're
point in
probably gonna
between
have
those
to
two.
figure this out.
Probably after
So
Some
after
point in
Zach.
between
Okay,
those
so
two things.
if we were to keep the same map pool, so like here's the thing. I mean, and like I'll do a bit of a leak here. Well, obviously, everyone here that's speaking currently knows, but our initial thoughts for Rivals 4 is possibly to extend the season, but make it less demanding for games, if that makes sense. You're not going to be required to play 2 or 3 games in like 2 weeks' time. Instead, I would like to try and limit it to one game, like one BO3 per week that you can schedule whenever in the week, as like a scheduled game for you, as like an initial thought process. Nothing is set in stone. I just want to reiterate that. However, when you have something like that, it has to extend longer because obviously you guys can't, you guys have to be able to play X amount of games still. So with that thought process though, we were thinking about how would we want to, like, if we extend the season longer, there's probably going to be another map change that would happen, and we would follow that same map change. So if we were to start the season with the map change happen, or the current map change happens before the start of next season, which I think it does for us, because there's still a little time here before I want to start season four. But that means that there's going to be only 4 maps that are staying the same from Rivals 3, and they would be Bind, Split, Haven, and Pearl. Bind, Split, Haven, and Pearl are all staying, because the 3 new ones would be Breeze, Lotus, and Fracture. And
Yep.
like, I just, I don't know. I was like, I feel like it might not be as stale as you might think could be, Trudon. Especially if there is
Well, I
a
mean,
map
with
change.
Haven still there,
I know Haven
it's
is
just
still
the
there,
Haven's always going to be the
but
number one
Haven,
picked map.
and I guarantee you, dude, Lotus is gonna be played so much.
Oh, 100, yeah,
I would like to
100%.
see teams try and master
I
those
love
other
Lotus though.
maps, dude. I want to see Fracture. I want to see people get good at Breeze too. You can only ban one of them. Get good at the other one. That's all I'll say. And I feel like with the map changes possibly happen, like there should be another map change that happens in the middle, like towards the middle of the season, and we'll try and switch with that or accommodate to get that.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think
I would like to bring up.
let's bring up another speaker if we can.
Yeah, we absolutely can. We'll try and make these a little shorter. All right, Green Gecko, you're up.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you perfectly.
Okay, good. So one concern I have with the map pool is I think following the competitive map pool is mostly fine, right? But sometimes Riot puts Icebox in the pool. And then I just like I want to drive to LA and do undisclosed activities. Like, what the fuck are they doing? Like, Abyss and Icebox in the same map pool should be a crime. Like, what is that? So, like, I'm fine with a competitive map pool, but can we just like, just like sort of push the bad maps out? Like, I don't want to play Abyss or Icebox, man. Horrible maps.
I think so. When my opinion when it comes to that is that you get quite literally, you're just gonna see a heavy playing of the more popular maps. Like if Icebox was even in pool, then you just permaban it. That's literally all you need to do, and you can just focus on the
Just
other
to add on,
six.
like real quick, I think like if we want the map pool and the people who are playing Valorant to be as competitive as possible, it would make logical sense to also mimic the ranked pool, even though that might not be ideal, like you said, because personally, I also don't like Icebox as well. But if we want people to get better at the game, they're gonna be forced to play ranked more than likely, or play in like scrims, etc. Right? And by having that mimic the competitive pool, we could only make it like reflect VCT. Even like some teams might look at some VCT strats and stuff and put it into rivals, right? Where it's like an accumulation where I think if we do keep it consistent with other systems, right, we will be able to make it so that rivals can be as competitive as it can be. You know?
Yeah, I mean, if that's, I mean, I get the argument for a custom map pool is kind of weak. Like, I can't argue with you too much. Just, I
It's
Yeah.
hate playing Icebox. It makes me want to jump off a bridge.
okay.
It's actually miserable.
All right, I
Yeah.
appreciate you
Yeah.
sharing your thoughts, though, Green Gecko.
No, it's
Thank
very,
you
very
very
valid.
much.
All right.
All right, we'll bring up Esfui and then we'll move on to our next topic of discussion.
Yep.
Yeah, I think what you said about like using the ranked pool and everything makes sense, but I just want to say we should do it off of like the map pool that's gonna be around for most of the season. So if that's the one where they're putting in like Fracture and Lotus, we should do that just so that like it
Oh
stays
yeah,
relatively
I
consistent.
absolutely agree.
Like, because if the season starts like a week before that change, we shouldn't use the ranked pool then and then
Oh yeah,
have like two maps unavailable.
yeah. Trust me,
And
I thought about this. I would agree, and then like it's the same thing because like we're not gonna have the same scheduling as VCT. So if there's another
yeah,
map change that happens later, we know what the maps are. We would have it like if we know what the leaks are, if we know what the maps are, we would have it coincide with our schedule instead of waiting for the whole thing to change. And like
yeah,
you'll still be able to like find scrims on Gangster if you were to use Gangster for scrims because there are teams that want to go get ahead of the curve and start practicing those maps as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And the other thing I just want to say is like on the thing of it being stale and like everyone playing Haven, like there's gonna be like one or two maps in every map pool that
Oh,
everyone plays. Like
without a
if
doubt.
Ascent is in the pool, everyone's just gonna play Ascent. Like it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
Yes, I mean it's always to be expected, but I think the success in teams is finding a niche map that other teams might not be so strong at. The non-havens, non-lotus, non-ascents. Uh, Developing a good macro for that map and being able to take it against other teams. I find that to be a very strong. Like if you have a map that's really good and you're able to you think you can beat any team on it because it's not a common map, then go for it. Make it so the other teams have to ban that map for you. Kind of like what Abyss is to DRX or
Yeah,
Bind is to
exactly.
100 Thieves. Jesus Christ, they suck.
But yeah, that's kind of all I wanted to say. And like I don't want this to take 3 hours, so
Yeah,
that's it.
thank you for your input.
Yep.
We would like to get on
Yep.
to the next section.
Yeah. Once again, thank you everyone that has come up for that part. Remember we'll have a Q&A, so if you need to say some specific things, we could do it then.
I know that
But yeah,
was
let's go on to the next one.
I understand that this is also like a big topic because like map pool is obviously like this is the fun part of it. All right, let's continue. I would like to make these a little shorter. Okay, so this one we're actually gonna need some helpful input. Like, what do you guys think about team dodging? Obviously, like dodging is always gonna be something that happens. It's a hard thing to get around without having to go straight into just like creating schedules for you all. Alrighty, Power will bring you up.
Welcome, Power.
Oh wait, hello.
Yes,
Wait,
hello.
Okay. Team dodging. I don't even think team dodging. I think when people think people are dodging them, I don't think it's even they're actually trying to dodge them. It just seems like it. I don't even think dodging is like that much of a problem.
It most certainly is. So
At least,
the first 3 weeks of season, you didn't really see any of the top teams playing each other because it didn't make sense for them to play each other. They were able to make more. You were able to make more points playing off the lower teams, and like we're gonna address the point system as well. But like you can't say that it wasn't obvious team dodging when it quite literally was, because it made sense for top teams to not play each other at the beginning of the season because you can earn the same amount of points playing a team that you believe is weaker. And like there were people that I've heard and verbalized to me that they were purposely dodging teams that they thought were better so they can go beat teams that they thought were worse because they're earning, the same amount of points.
so
It is very much an issue that the only way I can see around it would be scheduling. I would like to hear from people. So I understand what you mean,
so
Power. I
wait,
appreciate, like, do you have a way to counter this?
wait. So you're saying like dodging as in just
Avoiding playing.
per like as in just trying to play a lower team. That's what you mean.
I mean, it's not just that, but
Yeah,
like
trying
also,
to play teams that you're favorable against and avoiding teams that you're not favorable against.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Because I mean, me personally, I didn't really see like much dodging because, yeah, I didn't really see much dodging. And
Oh no,
also,
that's fair. That's fair.
alrighty. All
and
right, I'm going to speed this up, Power. So thank you for your input. We appreciate it. Next,
Yeah,
all right.
yeah.
Next is Green Gecko. You're up. You're second. Then it's going to be Guilty, Rise, Trudon, Esfui.
I'm back. Okay, so if you said you want the season to be longer, right? That's something you guys are considering?
The season, well,
Yes.
in terms of length, yes, but the amount of games would be the same. So you're not as
Okay.
you're not feeling as crowded, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get that. So the easiest way to do this would be to schedule, but that sucks, right? That's like the main hook of the league is that we don't schedule games because that's like so annoying. That's why I don't play like Valorant Draft Circuit and leagues like that because I have adult stuff to do. So most leagues do like round robin in groups. So I think an interesting solution would be every team has to play every team at some point. But there is one issue with that, and that's that teams implode or they have scheduling issues that you can't work around. But I think that's one solution where it makes it impossible to dodge teams.
Well, yeah. So that's something that we've been considering. I won't leak too much about what we've been discussing, but like the thought process here is that if you have around, let's say you have a group and there's five teams in that group, and you have to play the rest of your group with 4 teams. I would give you 4 weeks to play those 4 teams, but I more so than that, I probably would assign you a team to play. Like when I say I want to schedule games, I would say you'd have a group and I'd schedule your group's games for each week. So that way you're only focused on playing that one opponent for that week, and you have a deadline to when you have to play that opponent. So that way, A, it makes sure that the game's played. B, there's no way to avoid dodging the team, and then C, it just keeps everything nice and concise, and it just makes everything flow a lot smoother. Like that's a thought process that I have thinking about what I would like to accomplish. Not that it's actually going to happen, but that's just my initial thought with what I want to go with this.
Yeah, I think that's a good solution. I think I could see a problem where teams will feel like the scheduling is unfair. You're gonna get that if you do
I
stuff
I
like this. Like you're gonna get a lot of complaining, basically.
Oh, I get that. We're going to try and make the groups also as fair as possible, and we're going to have a way to evaluate groups as well. We're not going to randomly throw it about like Rivals 2 was like how Rivals 2
Yeah,
happened.
that was horrible. I mean, people are gonna whine in this server anyway, though. Actually, so it really
And
doesn't
that's
matter
that's
that much.
Yeah,
something
but
I'm
we'll
full
try our
well and
best.
prepared to.
Yeah.
It's something I'm full well and prepared to handle. But thank you for your input. I do appreciate it. I will be bringing up Guilty Crown next. Get up here, Guilty. Resident new mod. Hello, Guilty.
Hello.
Hi. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts here on the team dodging?
I was pretty much going to say exactly what you said with the groups. I think the groups is one of the best solutions because it's hard probably to have everyone play every single team, and especially if you have what happened with Rebels 3, where some teams came up after like other teams exploded, like JTRR and some other teams like that formed like pretty late in the season. It would get fucky. So if you just have like a setup group, and then even if that happens, maybe you can
I will
make sure to
say
balance it after those teams are made. I don't know if you're even allowing that in the next season, but
to defend JTR. So okay, so I'll talk a little bit about everything. So JTRR, Beatles and I did have a hard set date. I think we said you couldn't create any teams after the end of week 4, but you didn't get any point. And you were given. You also started with decay based on how many weeks you were gone.
yeah.
So, but I think JTRR formed after week 2 because they did get a decay. So they did pretty much play. They did play almost a full season, and they played the 16 required games.
Yeah, all I was saying is like if you forced every team to play every team, for example, if you played a team that disbanded, then you'd basically you'd be forced to play more games as required than other teams that maybe didn't play a team that disbanded.
I get what you mean. We'll make a mental note of that. That might be just like that might just end up in a thing. It's like, you know, if the team just blows up, it'd be an FF. But we are looking. I will say we are looking ways into making sure that teams don't disband. We're going to punish people that are part of a disbanded team that disbands. So you're encouraged to remain together, and we're going to make it harder for you to switch teams. So that way, you know, you actually put some thought into the teams that you're joining, and you can't be willy nilly and handing yourself out to everyone like Rise is. Sorry, Rise, I didn't mean to word it like that. But
I think that would be a good. I think that was kind of a problem. Also, I agreed what you were saying, where like dodging was a problem because, I mean, I'll say that definitely there were teams, perhaps my team, that intentionally did that. And it just made sense. Like,
I mean, I'll say the same thing. Like if I was
what you should do if you were smart, I think.
Exactly. If I was playing Rivals 3, I would not play anyone that I thought could relatively like make it a pain for us, because I'd rather play the other teams that, you know, I'd make sure that and like we'll address that too, because we're going to talk about the point system. But like I'd rather play teams that I thought that I could gain full points against that we would actually easily beat.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, thank you for your input, Guilty. I appreciate it as well.
Yep.
All right. Next, we got Rise. Rise, you got to stop speaking, man, so you can get your voice back.
I don't care. I need this.
All right. What are your thoughts here?
I think for me, I never got dodged, but I've heard the two top teams dodge. I'll name them right now: POW and fucking Team Pup.
You mean Hooters?
No, Pup's team.
All right. My thing here is, are you going to say anything constructive?
Yes.
Okay, get to it.
I don't think you should say, "Oh, we want to farm the lower teams to get more points." No, I think that's kind of stupid. You gotta show that you're good and not just farm the lower tiers just to get playoffs and get knocked out. But,
so you're just addressing teams that are dodging. I'm saying, is there anything that you could say about the whole dodging aspect here? Otherwise, I'm going to bring up the next person.
I think we should add a penalty.
A penalty? A penalty for what? All right.
Like purposely dodging, you know what I mean? Like dodging on purpose. Just
but okay, I want to say this right now as a person in position. It is very hard to ever prove with facts that a team is actively dodging without like an actual audio clip or like written.
I know.
So there's nothing we can really do about that. It's just it's their word against yours, and it's gonna be it's something that I will like. We as admins will never be able to tell who's in the right, who's in the wrong. Obviously, we could have our biases, but like using actual evidence, we won't be able to make that discernment. All right, thank you, Rise. To the audience you go. Bring up Asfui. I'm gonna speed run this. All right, hello. How do you think we can get around our issues of dodging?
I don't know how it worked in the past, and I also don't know really how this would practically work with like the amount of games you want people to play. But I've played in leagues before where like you're given a team that you have to play by a certain date, and then it's just up to the teams to schedule it. And that way it's like, hey, play these guys by this date, and then report back to us like the results. And I think that would kind of eliminate the issues, but also like allow for some freedom in scheduling still.
Oh, I mean, so that's exactly how I want to do it. I want you
Yeah.
to be able to play anytime from Monday to Sunday, but then you're going to be given a team that you're going to play. Now, the I think the issue that people are having is that like with rivals is with however long it's always been like one of the few things that's been like a key defining factor is you've always been able to pick your opponents, and like obviously like picking your opponents is really fun to do, but obviously there's also a lot of like caveats and negatives that come with picking your own opponents compared to like having scheduling and groups and all that kind of stuff. And like we have to weigh all these options, and like the undeniable fact, which is actually kind of is honestly kind of cool, is that like Rivals has I was talking to Algebra about this before, but like Rivals has been linearly increasing in terms of player base since Rivals 1. Rivals 1 to Rivals 2, there was an exponential increase, and then there's a gradual increase here from Rivals 2 to Rivals 3. But the biggest thing about Rivals 3 is that this is the first time that we've had more than 16 teams when it came to playoff time. Like there were so many teams that were consistently playing still by the end because of like that chase for the playoffs, you know. And I obviously there will be teams that blow up, and there's going to be a creation of new teams. Like we can't fully say no to having people create new teams because of the fact that like you know I don't want to limit people either, but there needs to be a like a limit or a hard set or a more strictness concerning these teams. But I get what you mean, SV. Sorry, I was going on my ADHD tangent. But like, yes, what you're saying is something that I would like to bring forth in the next season. Is you have from Monday to Sunday to play this team, and you have your deadline is this date. So, but you have any of those 7 days to play this one game, this one series.
Yeah, I think that's a good system. That's
Okay.
that's all I have to say. You can move on.
Anything to add, Algebra?
Yeah, I think like the whole just in general, the aspect of team dodging, it's always going to be difficult. It's also going to just like if we do go the way where it's like okay, we give a predetermined opponent, and then you also have to go against that opponent within a certain amount of time. There's also the thing where it's like we're getting more and more people, like Tucker's saying, and we're gonna have more and more teams, and we're trying to manage the teams that are new, manage teams that are old, and it's gonna be a little interesting. We're gonna figure out some interesting systems to make it so um, we still reach that goal of like, okay, you won't be overboarded with games, like 3 games per week, but we still want to make it so that we have enough people playing and we avoid the idea of sometimes always having to pick your opponent, because that might result in things like team dodging, which is strategic and legit, you know?
I agree. All right, Aiden, what are your thoughts here? I know you weren't around for Rivals 3, but your experiences in Rivals 2 and Rivals 1. Aiden.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Now we can.
Yes. No.
I think there's an easy solution to this. I don't know if the point system is going to work, but I think all you have to do, I don't know how many teams at the top are getting dodged, but like all you have to do is after like the 2 to 3 week span, and then when people finally figure out what the good teams are, teams 1 through 5 just get like a bounty on their head where if you because it's simply just risk reward. The teams won't play each other because the reward doesn't outweigh the risk. So if you just put 25 points on the team that's in first place, if you win, like at 25 points extra or something, just whatever the amount of points it is.
Sorry to interrupt you, Aiden, but we did do the system for Rivals 3, where depending on how many X amount of points you were away from the not I guess not median, but like we set the base at 1,000. However, X amount of points you were away from 1,000 is how much you can gain, and you would also lose more depending on how many points your opponent had. So if you played a
I think you just get rid of the lose. It's because
but the
if
issue
team one if team one doesn't want to play team two or team two doesn't want to play team one, you just have to give them a reason to play. But you also don't make them lose anything because it's about getting the good teams to play each other. No, not getting
I understand,
the bad teams to not play the good teams.
I understand, but the issue was that it still didn't really work. I think
I mean some people bring up some good points, like yeah, I'm seeing in the chat like to increase the bounty, also to like make it so there's even more reasons to fight the team, like Aiden is saying, where it's like okay, get rid of losing points. I think Tunk will get on this, where it's like it's kind of difficult to manage, but basically, even though going against certain teams might be a risk. Sometimes it's not worth it because unless you are a bottom tier team, you want to go against teams that you know that you'll beat because it's all about incrementally winning those games, right?
It's not
But
about
that,
getting
that
the bottom teams to not play the top teams, it's about getting the top teams to play each other. So you just have to make the
yeah,
reward worth the risk.
yeah,
That's all I gotta say.
Like the issue I see with that, like I understand why it's being said, and I think the issue we have with with bounty systems is like if you make it so higher teams can't play, like don't earn enough from playing lower teams, and they're just not going to play. But the lower teams would want to play the higher team to get the amount of points that they can increase a lot. So there's always it's a seesaw literally. It's very difficult to side with either one of them. My personal opinion is I would get rid of fucking points completely. I'd rather just go by match record and scheduling. But I understand like this is where like having a town hall is helpful because I want to hear everyone's ideas so that way we can come together and see what the majority think. Alrighty.
yeah. And like adding on to that, like points does not equal how good the team is always, right? Sometimes you
Absolutely.
might avoid a certain team even though they have the same amount of points.
I agree. Alrighty. Let's go on to the next subject. I believe I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. Yes. Okay, so this is exactly what we're talking about. You know, points versus actually having a match record. So if we're allowing free scheduling, obviously we're going to have to do a point system because if we do match record, it's going to be skewed it's going to have issues with competitive integrity because of the fact that like you could schedule games against weaker opponents. However, we did a scheduled format after like dividing you all into different groups. I would rather do match record. It's so much simpler. BDOS doesn't have to go nuts with the calculations. Not that she's bad at it. It just it becomes a little tedious to input everything. But this is just my thoughts. Is there anyone here that wants to speak about it? Anyone want to take away have any takeaways from the Rise system that was created from last Rivals? Not that we're gonna bring it back, but just like what you liked or what didn't like about it. Like this doesn't all have to be about which one you prefer. You could talk about the issues that we had last Rivals or previous Rival seasons as well. Hello, Guilty. Go ahead and speak. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I think the match record actually does make a lot of sense. I think it's just you obviously have to be careful about the incentives that you set up. As long as there's some way to avoid, once again, a really good team from just farming lower teams for free match record. That obviously always feels bad if you're like, let's say you're a team that has maybe more powers mentality where you don't really care, you just want to play people, and then you're fine with just playing whoever, then that's fine. But maybe you have somebody who's really trying to min max their record.
I got
So as
you.
long as you
Yeah.
make it so that you can't abuse the system, I think the match record just makes the most sense. It's just you have to be more technical probably with the rules around like who you can play and when.
And I also think with that well that's where we'd have to go into groups and actually do scheduling. I think
Yeah.
that's really the only way we can go about it. And like you
Mhm.
still have freedom to schedule whenever games you want, but like you just have a set deadline of when to play these teams. And like I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie, like I'll be transparent with everyone here in the audience and whoever's watching on the stream. That looks like that seems to be the direction that we're heading for Rivals 4 is, but and we're not going to just randomly draw these teams also to create these groups. We're going to
Yeah.
have you know what? I'm willing to do a little leakage. We are going to have some form of a kickoff format where you're going to be playing other teams and like how your performance is going to be based and your performance is going to have you placed into these separate groups. And if you were to blow up during if your team blows up during kickoff, that's fine too. Cuz like
Yeah.
the thought process right now is we have ways around it and like thoughts
Mhm.
for it. However, it's just like I've lost my train of thought. You can take over.
Yeah.
Bro.
I don't want
No
to
worries.
distract from the Yeah, I don't want to distract from the topic at hand, but I'd say that it would make sense to have the deadline be like, if for some reason people signed up for teams and didn't think about if they actually wanted to play with the people that they signed up to play with, then fine, they can reset. But I think it's just my opinion that I think it'd be better to not allow a bunch of teams to blow up like once the season's already started. Like maybe you have to make it so the team can't change. Maybe you can change the captain and people need to trade around. But I think just letting people form new teams is weird. But
I know
I know
it's
that's
always
off topic,
hard.
not what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
I understand. It's something that we can address during the Q&A segment as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I can't. I guys, big leak year kickoff will actually be like a quad limb kickoff. It'll take half like 6 weeks.
Quad
You know.
limb. Holy. Okay.
Imagine we did a kickoff that was like fucking half the year. Yeah.
All right.
Rivals 4 to seed Rivals 5.
Yep.
Alrighty. But thank you for your input, Guilty. Appreciate it.
Yep. Bye bye.
All right. What do you have? What do you have for us, SV?
I have a question about the win-loss thing. Would this just be like straight? This is how many wins. This is how many losses a team has, or would it
Yeah,
be
it'd be
like
your
some
series
shit where
win,
it looks
series
at like
loss.
the teams you won against and the teams you lost against?
It'd just be series win, series lost. Whoever you played.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like,
But like
they'll
it'll
be
also be
based
divided
off
into
of-
groups as well.
Yeah.
Like your
so like
group's
it'll be
win loss.
it'll make sense because you went against the same groups. It won't be like win loss based on like random opponents. You know. So.
Okay. Yeah,
You'll only
because
get-
I was just gonna say I hate the like VCT shit where like a team's qualification can be determined by a game they aren't playing in. I think that's like really stupid and like
Yeah.
not fun.
I can get behind that. But yes, thank you for your input.
Yep.
Mhm.
All right, Power. Let's hear it.
Okay, wait, hello. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Speak.
Okay. I think if you guys want to do like a match record, you should kind of do it by groups, like
Yeah,
how you guys did in Rivals too.
that is what we
Because
said.
okay,
Yes.
yeah.
I
And
agree.
then I also think you should have it. Okay, so do like the same thing in Rivals 2 where you have to play everyone in your group, and then you guys pick the certain teams that you have to play outside of the group.
So when it comes to that, that's going to be very hard for us to do. While trying to make it fair at the same time. It's something we could discuss, but I think
No,
that's
it's definitely something we should consider, right? Because it's
It's,
like we want good teams to go against good teams, right?
yeah.
So,
No,
but
I absolutely agree with that.
It's about logistics, you know. So yeah.
But I think in the we can find a way to try and make that happen. Power. I just think in the long term of things, it's going to be difficult for us to try and schedule all those games, like extra games, if we do like a scheduled format for if we pick the teams. Because, well, I guess we could throw it into a random like an actual generator where it'll consider everyone's seating and pump out like an additional 3 games. You know, we'll take that into consideration. We appreciate your thought.
Because I feel like if you guys are like worried about like the incentive of dodging, then if you guys pick the games, then
Yeah.
nobody can really complain about anything.
Yeah, I get it.
Exactly.
Thank you, Mr. Power. All right, we'll take Aiden, and then we're going to head on to our next topic.
Yes.
Hello, Mr. Aiden. What say you?
Like you guys said, you're gonna do kickoff. You can just do it where there's like a 3-week stage 1, a 3-week stage 2, and you just like I don't know how many playoff spots you guys are thinking about doing, but you can just do it where there's a bracket where if you reach a certain point, you get a playoff spot, and over the next like however many stages, you still are incentivized to play for the seeding and stuff, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it solves the shitty point system, and then it solves the potential. Actually, I mean, I think match record actually doesn't solve the. It's 1-to-1. The only problem with that is the scheduling, I guess. It'd be hard to do that with scheduling, but I
But
think
no, I
it's
like what
definitely
you're doing where it's like
I get what you
cumulative,
mean,
right?
yes.
Like everything, every match really matters. You know, I like that.
The only I think point system just needs to go. It's really dog shit compared to match record. Rivals 2 was honestly fine. The only thing that got fucked up, like the groups were fine. Well, no, I mean the groups part of it. The groups part was fine. The problem was that it was points. Yeah.
Is crazy.
Well, to be fair, the groups were pretty even.
Were
Like,
they?
there was one team. Yeah, there was one group that was kind of bad, and it only had one. If you view it that way, one good team being knocked out of playoffs. The only real problem was that the admins decided to swap how the groups function at the last.
I remember that. Oh my god.
I do agree with that. Alrighty.
Yeah, one thing we'll definitely say is we'll keep some sort of consistency.
I would like
so
to,
you have an
yes.
idea of how the format will go.
No,
we'll show you that to you guys.
I understand that there's stuff I had to change, but it's because I had to adjust to what Newt had put, and I didn't know exactly how I wanted to go about it because Newt set a guideline or like he set like a threshold that you had to meet, but then there was only like there was only like 2 or 3 teams that ended up meeting it. So I had to make something up on the fly for how you were going to qualify for playoffs, and then everyone else just became everything was just a mess. I'm trying to make it a lot more organized here with algebra and BDOS for this upcoming season, so that way there's no questions. I want you to know exactly what you're getting yourself into and like your playoff qualifications and what you're playing. I don't want to change anything throughout too much the entire season.
Yeah.
All right. Shall we
Next format or next question? Yeah. All right.
So one of the more consistent things that happened this last season that had issues were P10s. So I want to know how you guys think we should work around P10s or what should be done with P10s. Because people consistently it led to one of the biggest arguments between Hector and the tier 2 coach. Both were very valid in their arguments. You had I understand how Hector handled it, probably not the best, but anyone would be annoyed if there was a big delay. I understand the guy had to go do chores. It sucks. All right. Should people be more understanding? Also, yes. But at the same time, the coach is very valid to say that Hector's being a little bitch. I'm not his words, not mine.
Oh my, okay, yeah.
but I want to hear your guys' opinions about how we should handle P10s, because obviously P10s aren't a big set concrete thing in the rule book, and it's always left up for interpretation. And I want something a little more concrete. So go ahead and lead us off here, Green Gecko.
There should be some rule in the rule book where if you're gone for some certain amount of time, you just lose the match. Because this happened with Hooters and Clorox. That was a whole nightmare thing,
So,
and then it screwed other teams over, and then we went to LCQ. It was a whole thing.
I can agree with that, but at the same time, it's if you have someone that just loses their internet, that's out of their control. There's nothing they
No,
can
it
do
does.
about
It sucks. It sucks. But what if I'm busy the rest of the week and then I have to play my game next week? What do I do about that?
And that's the other thing that we have to address. So I would like to also I think we'll probably end up changing also 4v5 rules. We could let's see.
Trudon just said avoid the match. Trudon, I hate you. No, bro, we cannot call it a draw. That's the worst solution. Any other solution would be fine. Actually, any other solution is fine.
I do think that's an issue, Trudon, if you play 2 maps. You play 2
I could just if I'm losing, I can just DC and say, "Oh no, my internet died," and now it's a draw and nothing happened. Oh no, guys.
I think
Imagine we do groups, everything's a draw then.
I think
yeah, bro, we're playing soccer in here. Bring back the BO2s at this point.
I mean, yes, it legitimately it has to be. Yeah, I don't know. Emergency sub rules where the match is closed to playoffs. No, I don't necessarily agree with that take either. I think that you should have subs if you're worried about it. That's why there's sub slots on rosters. But
I agree, because then you could do some fraudulent stuff with it. You can mess if one of your teammates is bad right now, you can just, oh no, his internet's dead. Let me use emergency sub that's really good. This happened in a previous Rivals playoffs, and this never got leaked, but this did happen. This would have been a scandal if it got leaked. It was crazy, but this actually has happened before, but nobody ever found out, so it was fine.
Okay.
Well, thank you for your input. I do agree that there are teams that.
Wait, can I leak? Will I get banned if I leak it?
How are you gonna get banned, bro? It already happened.
I don't know, bro. Actually, all the old admins are gone. Okay,
I don't know.
2/3 of us weren't even admins.
That's true, actually. The old Crack House team, Slater. I don't know if he's even still in the server, but Slater was gone, so we had to get a sub. I was on that team as a sub, and Hector was like, "You have to say you're not available so that Brownie can emergency sub for you."
This is known.
Was that no? Well, no, but I could have been subbed. The rule said I had to sub, and I said I was unavailable.
No, I think that is. I knew this.
Hector
at
might have
least.
leaked it at some point. Hector is a big leaker. That guy cannot keep his mouth shut.
I
mean,
knew.
I
I
think
knew
a lot
about
of teams have probably done something along the lines of
Yes,
just
I
say,
think that
say
that
you're
is horrendously
unavailable, so we
stupid.
play the better team.
I will
Right,
say.
I think that's horrendously stupid.
We are trying to find ways to make.
They should have made me play. They should not have let Brownie sub for me. That was stupid.
Yeah, we
Okay,
won't.
wait. Just to gear the conversation, I think one thing we should definitely consider is what direction we go with these P10 rules. Like, I do think we could benefit in the direction of going towards something where it is more structured, where you could look at the rules and even though they might be strict, right? They decide this is how the P10 is done, and it doesn't like, or we go the other direction where we're a bit more lenient. Me and Tunk are part of the community. We try to understand the community and come to a better solution, but that does mean that usually it might end up with certain teams either way not getting what they want.
And I
Sorry,
also think
I know my time is like up, but I
No, you're
hard
good.
agree that there should be a structure because if you could just point to the rulebook and say rules are rules, like I think that's just way better than having to argue for like 20 years.
I agree.
Like
And,
that's just so annoying because matches will stop for like an hour while we argue in general and try to get an admin in the call.
Yes, and just a reminder, like me and Algebra have like also been participants in Rivals. We know the issues that like happen, which is why we're trying to get everyone's opinion and change it. Like I would like the community to help build this rule book as well.
I high key trust you guys the most out of any of the Rivals admins, which is a very low bar, just so we're clear.
Oh yeah, thanks.
It was a pretty low
appreciate
bar.
We appreciate it, but yes, thank you
All
for
right,
your
let's get our
thank you
next
for your
speaker.
input.
Yeah.
It is Mr. Rise. All right, let's hear what Rise has to say about P10s.
I think they're fine, but I think some people would abuse them. But I don't think there should be a penalty if they abuse it.
I was gonna say, I think
Like-
I think how current times work right now, it's honestly not bad. It's just when people exceed it, or like I know people also always complain about DCs, and like DCs is obviously completely out of your control, and especially like with certain people, it happens more specifically on specific like with specific
I feel like
servers.
if they do exceed it in one match, I think they should lose that amount of time in the next map. You know what I mean?
I know. Well,
So
we'll obviously have hard set rules, and like obviously it can be dependent on like whoever you're playing, because like obviously like there's some people that are a little more lenient than others. Like I remember when I was on DRX and we were playing Silly Geese. Power couldn't talk at all during the timeout as the coach for Silly Geese. So we allowed a 60-second P10 for him to still talk to his team even though the timeout was over.
yeah.
And just like stuff like that. And like obviously like it sucks that like we'll have to like enforce rules so that like we don't have issues like so we don't have stuff like Serp Fryer and Hector again. But we'll probably like have a little more leniency if you were to DC like an additional like 5 minutes.
I
Like that
don't
sucks.
think-
But if your internet's completely out, we'll also have to touch upon the 4v5 rules, because some of the 4v5 rules that were in the rule book I didn't agree with. I feel like if
don't-
you're forced into a 4v5, sometimes you just gotta play it out, because that's what they would do in VCT.
Yeah.
As well.
I just don't think. Yeah, as with the
Or not VCT, VCL. Sorry, because like that's VCL is a lot more based around what we're doing than VCT, because it's VCT's LAN. But with VCL, if they have someone DC, you have to play out that 4v5 until the end of the match, and then the player can join back again.
Yeah, I just don't think there should be like as well as the map drop, because you can 4v5, because I 4v5 TRX when my 9 Japan E-boy was just lagging out and DCing. So I don't think there should be a draw, because TRX is a good example. We just fucking 4v5 them and
I know.
steamrolled them.
I like it would have to be a very, 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 very specific case for us to like probably warrant a draw. But thank you for your input, Rise. Is there anything else you'd like to add? I'll take that as a no. All right.
Yeah, thank you so
last
much.
one, We'll bring up SVE, and then after this, I believe we'll transition to our just normal Q&A or any concerns that anyone has. What say you at SVE about the P10 rules?
Rise kind of touched on it a little, but I think there should be punishments for teams that like consistently call P10s and are like having issues where like if you can't schedule your shit properly, or you're having a player who consistently DCs and just becomes like really annoying constantly, you should like they got to fix that. Like, I don't think you should be allowed to just constantly be like, oh fuck, P10, 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 because it just makes the matches take forever, and it's really fucking annoying.
I do agree. There wasn't any specific teams I think brought up to me that were P10 abusers.
No, I'm not saying like
I know.
that was even a
I
thing
get what
going
you mean.
on, but I'm just saying it should be like a caveat in the rules.
I get what you mean.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if there's a way for us to start, I guess we could start keeping track of P10s.
I mean, I think if a team was doing it, people would start to say shit,
Well, I'm sure.
and then you could like check. But yeah,
I'm sure. Like when I say like this is like one of the the biggest issue we had this last season was P10s, but obviously there weren't that many situations where it actually happened. Probably like 3 or 4 where I had to actually like discuss with, at the time was Newton Bova, and then afterward it would be me and Bieras, where we discuss like how we should handle the situation. Because I will say I think the P10 rules in the old iteration of the rule book were a little bit ambiguous and left up for interpretation. And I would like more hard set concrete rules, so that way just like yes, check the rule book, what it says,
like
how it goes. Because like I know everyone here, you got school, you have lives. It's hard for us to just be like, oh, it's a tech pause. Take as long as you need. We can't do that.
Yeah, no, like we had I feel like a lot of times we had P10s called where it just felt like it took forever, and it was just really fucking frustrating. And so like I think just keeping the hard limit where it's like this is how much time you have. If your shit ain't fixed, 4v5 the rest of the map, and then you can reschedule the next map or some shit.
Okay. Yes, I agree. Thank you for that. Thank you for your input. Anything else you'd like to add?
Yep.
Nope.
Alrighty. Well, with that, I'd like to continue on because I would like to try and end this in the next 15, 20 minutes. I think we can, based on. Well, I'd like to just get like people's input in general. Let's see what we have next. Oh, just thank you.
I should add a Q.
No, you're good. Now's the time. Like anyone can come up, speak. You can talk about how Rivals 3 went or what you'd like to see in Rivals 4. We'll take everything into consideration. Or if you
and we'll try our best. We'll try our best to answer those questions because I mean some questions we might not be able to answer, but we'll try our best.
I have 2 questions.
2 possible answers. What's up?
First question: how are you going to deal with, or will there be any type of clause to prevent what I did and just leave a team play a match and fucking carry them and leave to play again?
Oh, yes, we're addressing that. We're going to have stricter punishments, and like we're going to make it so it's harder for you to, when you join a team, you have to play either X amount of games with them or spend X amount of time with them before you can leave and join another team. And if you leave a team, you're going to have X amount of time before you can even join another team or something like that.
Okay.
Like I think if you were to join a team, Rise, and then we expect you to like, even if you joined as a sub, so that's why like we can't just do hard. Oh, you have to play X amount of matches. We'd have to do it by time base if you joined a team as a sub, and then left, because like obviously like subs aren't expected to play all the time. So let's just use TTR for example. Let's say you guys sign Zyphoa. I would say Zyphoa has to play. I mean, these are just preliminary thoughts, but like I'd say he either has to play 2 full matches, so 2 BO3s, or he has to be on your team for 14 days before he can leave.
Okay.
Because I feel like 14 days and two matches are should be about the same.
Yeah.
Because like obviously like my thought process here is like you have 1 match a week is the thought process behind that. So that's what I would say for right now. We can obviously come up with like other stuff, but like that's just a preliminary thinking.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to add or any thoughts while we still have you up here? We can always invite you back if you have anything else.
My skin's a pig.
All right. Bye. Okay. All right, we're bringing up Green Gecko now.
I'm back.
Hi, what's up?
Okay, so I just a question for how because you said you would punish people whose teams implode somewhat to some extent. So let's
obviously
say
it's going to be like a case by case basis. It's hard for us to have like a generalized thing of punishing teams that explode because like obviously there's perpetrators and there's people that are just unfortunately just watching.
So if I get straw hatted, then
just
I'll
also
be
add
fine
a little
still.
bit. I think like we should and know that teams will disband, and we also don't want it situations where you're stuck on a team because otherwise you wouldn't get to play at all, right? So it's like managing those two things, but also punishing people who take advantage of that.
Yeah, because Rivals won. I was on the team that played the first ever Rivals match, and then instantly after that match, Smee rage baited someone so hard that everybody on the team except for me left the server. Well, except
Hey,
for Steak, but it turned out he was not a very good guy. But like, I
funnily
just want to
enough,
make sure that I'm not completely screwed in that situation.
funnily enough, we discussed bringing back fans and unbanning him.
I mean, you could.
Yeah.
I don't think I've talked to him since then.
I thought it would be funny for storyline
It would be
purposes
really
for
funny.
Rivals 4.
It would be deeply funny if we bring fans back.
I know there's not a lot of people that know the lore, but man, fucking birds be chirping.
Ah,
Dude.
it's crazy. Nobody's left from back then. Dude, in that game I went 7-1 against Justin too. He was on ISO. I was on Cypher. I actually owned him.
Yeah, I think it's always hard. Like the thing is that like when teams blow up, they could still like. It's not that teams full blow up; they can still stay together, and I think that's another beauty thing about having like a win-loss record is that it's a lot easier to keep said record if you just remain the same team, and like that's something that we'll also address. I'll discuss it with people that are helping, but like I know that we had the rule where it's like, oh, the majority of your team, whatever number that has to remain for you to still keep that team. That's something I want to address because I think that the definition of the core of a team. Now, I was operating on it because it's ambiguous. It was poorly written, in where it didn't really necessarily say what that core of the team was. So I interpreted it as the core of the team from when it was created. So like this issue actually happened with TBC when they were having a lot of stuff going on, and a lot of people were they want to stay, they want to go, whatever, it doesn't matter. But I told them that they had to keep X amount of people on the team because they were people who were part of the original team. However, I think that definition of the core should change after an X amount of time. So that way it changes to a new core. So if other people want to leave, they don't have fully reset as a team itself. If that makes sense. I think it's something I'd like to address. And like obviously
it's going to be a process.
There's teams like some teams will obviously just continuously also have rotating doors. It is very hard to to punish these teams that like want to stay together. But like a team like Imperial, I thought Imperial should have stayed together. They didn't look bad in their matches, but like at first one person leaves, then a second person leaves, and all of a sudden the whole team disbands. Like stuff like that is what I'm trying to prevent.
Yeah, I guess another concern I have is like if you're on a team that has really severe internal issues, but you technically can still play with them, but it'll like make your life miserable. Like I just want to make sure you're not too incentivized to stick together, because then like
with something like that, if you DM us, we are more than happy to accommodate as well. I'm not going to punish you for being in a toxic team environment. Like if you DM'd us and said that like, hey, like this team is just ruining my mental, and you were able to find another team, I would be more than happy to waive your time. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, like this, I know you can say like, oh, this is something you could easily abuse. I would allow I guess it really depends case by case basis, but like I get what you mean. It's something that it's hard for me to define right now. Let's just put it that way. It's hard for me to define how I want to handle it outside of the fact that, like, if you DM us, we may be willing to help you. Like, obviously, it's going to suck. Like, if you're in a toxic atmosphere, I don't want that because that sucks.
Yeah.
I want Rivals to be fun. It's supposed to be fun.
And I saw Guilty say something in chat that's interesting. I see this from a lot of people. Like, you should know who's on your team before the season starts, and you should know if they're toxic or not. Like, specifically with low elo players, you don't get usually like very many offers. You don't get like a choice usually. They're like it'll be like a couple weeks before the season starts, and then like one guy DMs you, and you're gonna take it because nobody else has wanted to like pick you up because you're gold, right? So like then those people can get screwed.
And like also people might be nicer in the beginning, and then like you're peeling away layers, and they might show their true selves like later on. Because like the thing is like in the end, this is a very very hyper competitive environment. Even though, like, I understand, like, it's meant to be, this is a casual Discord league, but, like, it's competitive.
I'm down for it to be more competitive.
There's nothing wrong with being competitive, but, like, there comes a point where it becomes a little too toxic. And like, you also just and that's the thing is, I think it falls more onto the behavior of the higher elos, because you need to recognize like, hey, this is a like, I'm not even trying to put down plats and golds, but like, you have to understand that their understanding of the game or their mechanics might not be the same as yours. You need to
Oh
be
yeah,
a little
yeah.
more accepting, a little more maybe explanatory. You don't need to be condescending and just being an absolute asshole. You gotta take it not slowly and be patient. Or at least that was always my way of handling it. So, and I understand there's
Yeah.
people that a lot of it is just like the competitive attitude and like wanting to win all the time.
No, yeah, there's a fine line between competitive and toxic, like
I
super
agree.
fine.
I agree, which is why like I'm completely okay with banter. I like when you guys banter. It's very fun to read in general chat as an admin. But if you take it too far, I will time you out. You should also know when you take it too far.
Yeah, no, it's usually pretty obvious. I do like that though. Like, I don't think like I can get banned for shooting bodies. Like, I've been warned for shooting bodies. Like, what is that? That's dumb. Let me shoot a body. Who's that hurting?
No,
I would never tell my team to shoot
I
bodies.
sprayed I sprayed bodies when I was playing.
Oh yeah, Algebra, you would never do that, would you?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Us on SR, we never shot bodies. We were pacifists.
All right, but anything you'd like to add, Mr. Green Gecko?
Oh shoot, there was one other thing. I'm forgetting. I guess not.
Okay. Well, thank you for your input. We do appreciate it.
Yeah.
Mr. Guilty Crown, what have you to add or anything to say? What would you like to speak?
Yeah, it's just on the point of what Green Gecko brought up. I think it's actually a fair criticism to say that there's probably multiple gold players that get put in maybe bad situations if like they don't know the person and they don't get a lot of people giving them offers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I get that can happen, and maybe those could be dealt with better on a case by case basis if like a player comes to you or Algebra and is like, hey, like my team's ultra toxic. I know there's like rules about me changing teams, but I don't think I can deal with this environment, and then you can deal with it. I'm just saying that like I think not having the system set up to discourage people changing, because I think a lot of times the blowups seem to happen because I mean I'm older and maybe a little more mature, so I'm fine with dealing with like those social situations. But when you have a bunch of 18 and 16-year-olds like arguing with each other, I'm sure it gets down to just personal attacks and other problems that lead to the environment being worse. But sometimes that happens over just like a single game. And it's like, I think that if the incentives are set up so that people understand that, hey, you can't change people around, you need to know who you're trying to get on your team, and you need to know that you're locked in with this roster. So like creating bad social situations is not to your advantage, whether the high elo or the low elo. Probably would be a better system overall. And if you have to deal with it like on an individual basis, if something's unreconcilable, then fine. But this is my perspective or what I was trying to communicate.
I mean, like, I completely agree, and like I brought in so that's something we're trying to discuss right now as well, as like we understand like how much more difficult it is as a lower elo player to try and find teams, and like it's always going to be, unfortunately it's always going to be something that's an issue at hand, because with each successful or with each succeeding rivals, the player base has gotten bigger and the average rank of players has gone up naturally from all the returning people just ranking up in general, as well as bringing in a lot more people. And like unfortunately, like with a competitive thing like rivals, it attracts more people of the ascendant immortal variety. And so like if I remember correctly, if I averaged out everyone that signed up, and I took their league ranks and I averaged out their league ranks, it came out to like around Ascendant 1, which is pretty much dead spot on with what we had the team cap at. And like I understand it makes it very, very difficult for lower elos to it sucks for lower elo players because they may not be able to play with other lower elo friends that they want to. And like this is something I've talked with Timid and Smee about. Like we talked about how would it look like splitting the league up into high elo and low elo, but they said that low elo players, you guys still want like that competitiveness and playing with people that are higher elo as well. It just, unfortunately, that's the sacrifice of that is just like it makes it difficult to play with your friends that you want to play with.
From my perspective, the core of what makes Rivals interesting oftentimes is the mix of teams and having players that are either really good showcase that, or players who are not as good having to learn and work in environments where they get to improve in that competitive aspect. So I think just splitting, I mean, my perspective on that is I wouldn't want to see that happen, but I get why you maybe want to do it because it would make it easier for low elos to get it. It also would feel bad because I think that nobody, as a low elo player, I don't think anyone would want to watch a game that I'm in if no one good is in it. It's just people running around doing dumb shit all the
Yeah,
time.
I
So
mean, I understand. It's like I was just like trying to think of like because this was we talked about this before even Rivals 3 playoffs began because it was a concern that was brought up, and like I had always been wondering myself because like I know that like this last season that everyone's talking about like the death of plats, but I
Mhm.
think it really just I think what's most important honestly is team dynamic, and like you saw a team like TBC, you know, I don't think anyone expected TBC to win, but they were able to band together, you know, off of you know their friendship and you know what all the traumatic personal stuff that happened with them, and you know being able to band together to win the season was really really cool, and
Yeah.
you know then that they had their goal had put up the fucking performance of a lifetime on map 4. It was
Yeah,
awesome.
low IQ statistically was not playing well most of the season, and then they
That was
played really
awesome.
well just only playing Deadlock, and they did really well in the last map. So it was really sick.
But
It was a cool
yes,
part of their story.
going back to what you were saying, like reiterating what Green Gecko said, I think obviously case by case basis. I know that like we don't want to punish people for leaving, but like then like it's the situations I don't want a situation like Rise. I understand. So like, I guess maybe
Yeah.
not necessarily have such strict punishments for people that leave, but if you join a team, you must stay with them for 2 weeks or or X amount of games or time, compared to if you leave, then you can't do something.
Yeah.
Okay, I will consider. We will think about that or bring it into consideration. I do appreciate that. Is there anything else that you have? Anything that happened in Rivals 3 or anything that you want to see happen in Rivals 4?
I mean, like I said, I think the groups were a good idea. I thought it was fun to mess around with. I mean, we already talked about the map pool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I like more variety of maps, but I get like maybe just doing something closer to the rank pool makes sense because then it's not people arguing because everyone just has a different perspective on what they think a good map is and a bad map.
Yeah,
So
it's all
you know,
opinions.
it's just hard to make everyone happy. It's hard to make everyone happy unless it's like
Yeah.
top 3 maps like Haven, Lotus, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I can't think of anything else to be honest.
Alrighty, well, thank you again for your input. We greatly appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Also, everyone, be nice to Guilty. All right, Guilty is one of the people policing you now in chat. All right, we have Rise, and if there's anyone else that wants to speak, get your requests in now. If not, then we will be. Well, I'm gonna end this session.
All right. Final question.
Yes.
How are we gonna deal with people not playing the ranked games or having someone play and throw their games just so they get lower rank and
So
not reach
great
their
question.
actual rank?
I'll be honest. We haven't really had deep discussions yet about how we want to approach ranking people yet, even because, well, you know, I feel like, especially lately, there's been just. I mean, I've noticed it myself. You know, being in all the servers, it's just like there's been a heavy burnout of Valorant, and you know, people are trying to go and play other games. So like, I understand, and like, obviously, taking some people's peak ranks might not be ideal, but to prevent people, I mean, obviously, I think setting a rank game minimum is still the way to go.
I understand like the big burnt out, but I see more my questions more leaning towards people having someone else play on your account and just throw your games on purpose.
Do you know of anyone that did that?
Yes. They have taught someone has leaked it in this rival chat before recently.
Oh lordy! All right, people. I'm gonna be honest
Well,
with you. It's
well,
not that serious.
Yeah. Well,
I'll say it right now. I'll say it right now. It's True Dog.
Okay.
Are you talking about having Smee play on his account?
No, that's true, but I can't say it. I can't say it, or I'll be smiting.
Yeah, but I know that Trudon is gonna be Diamond 2, Diamond 3 anyways, so it doesn't.
It's True Dog, bro. He's throwing his games.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your input, Rice. Jesus Christ. Yeah, go ahead and speak. Talk about it, algebra.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, ever since Rivals has started, it's been this whole situation with how dealing with the ranks and putting that into a system and creating all these teams, right? I mean, we know tracker isn't gonna always be the most easy way to figure it out. We also know that like okay, if we put it up into the community, that that might not always be the greatest idea because the community doesn't always have a good gauge on how good a player always is going to be. Maybe for some players, but not for all players. And then there's also another aspect where it's like, okay, new players, right? I mean, we've seen historically new players succeed because they're scouted and they, know that certain people are going to perform well in this type of environment, right? And I mean, anyways, Rivals is a third place for us to, come together and play outside of ranked and other ways we could be scaled for your skill, right? Um, Considering all of that, I think me and Tunk and some other community members will try our best, right? Especially considering things still like Tracker, but also adding some other aspects that hopefully won't be as subjective to determine these things. I think one thing that we did like from the last season was having a ranked role, right? And that way it keeps it consistent and it makes it also easier and more accessible for teams to be created. I mean, anything you want to add onto that, Tunk?
Not really. In all honesty, I think you touched upon everything that I would have liked to speak about as well. You did a phenomenal job. Anything else you want to add?
Yes. Okay. No worries.
Okay.
To add like the main point, let me just quickly get this through. I think um, when we do consider these ranked roles, we're going to one mainly consider your tracker, right? But consider some other factors to help figure out what type of player you are, and then go from there. But
yeah. Alrighty. Let us bring up Isui again. What have you this?
Okay.
What have you to
I
add?
have like a very specific thing I just want to like say because I forgot to fill out the feedback form because I'm a
Yeah.
chud.
That's okay.
If a round is replayed for some reason, coaches should not be allowed to call a timeout afterwards. And that's all I want to say. That should
So
be in the rules.
So that I know exactly what you're referencing as the person who
Yeah.
said that we should roll back the round. What ended up happening is they tried to call the timeout but then paused the fucking game. They were calling the timeout so they could do so that like it gave Guilty time to come back. But then they called a P10 anyways. Or was it Guilty? It was Pup's team, right?
Yeah, it was.
And like the P10 and then the P10 came through. You guys paused at P10, but then the countdown timer for the timeout went through anyways. And then it just happened again after the P10 ended. It was really weird. I think it's just an unfortunate situation.
Yeah, I think it was, but
if a DC
it
happens,
felt
but yes, the coach should not be
it
talking.
felt so shitty on our end to see like a timeout get called, and like I don't know if they actually talked. But yeah, that was just like a specific thing I want to mention in the feedback.
Because during the timeout, coach can talk, but during the P10, the coach is not supposed to be talking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's very unfortunate.
It just felt like we played out a round. They saw what we did, like what our ideas were, and then like, oh, now they have a timeout, and they're like rating a coach can tell them what to do. It's like, well, what the fuck?
Yeah, that was honestly incredibly unfortunate. I don't really see that happening again. I will say to people in here, if you have a P10, please P10. Don't call the timeout or deny the timeout first and then call the P10. But thank you for your.
Yep. Okay.
Thank you.
That's it.
That is something that is still very helpful. All right, Boy Savior, I saw your hand next. Or not? Okay. Well, then Rise, your turn.
Welcome back.
I think there should be a punishment for the coach talking in all chat, mid-round, mid-game.
Okay.
Because I been having to deal with reading fucking Kansas just typing mid-round while I'm in a fucking 1v3. I'm just typing.
Yeah, you know, I've said it time before, and I said it time again. Or it's also we'll talk. I mean, we'll find a way to incorporate it again. But please don't use all chat. Like, yeah, you can talk shit to the other team, like banter after the round. Don't do it during the round. And we could find ways to punish multiple time perpetrators. Like, I get what you mean. It is annoying to hear that the text sound that comes up. And what Trudon said for observers, no typing, please. Maybe we'll just get rid of all typing. Fuck it. Just use voice chat. Just use the voice chat after the round. Alrighty. Thank you, Rise. Alright, Mr. Boy Savior. I see your request again.
Sorry. If you're gonna do like groupings, I think you should try to look to group people or teams by like the time zone. Because I swear to God, if I hear another person say 9 p.m. is too late to schedule a game, I'm gonna like some people in PST get back from work at like 6 p.m. So it's genuinely not possible to schedule a game that's like any time before that. And then
Yeah, I get what you mean.
That's a
Unfortunately,
great consideration.
it is something we could definitely consider. It's gonna be a little more on the difficult end because I think the heavy majority of people here are CST. We could. Oh, you know what? We could add that. You bring up actually a good thing. We could actually maybe even incorporate a role so people know what time zone you're in. That would make it that could be helpful. We'll add it to our list of commands that we could add to the bot because I want to have a lot more React roles for people for when they join the server, so it's less work that I have to do and more work for the computer. But that honestly, I think that's a good consideration. I don't know if there would be enough PST people though. Is my only concern. But I will try and give you other PST people.
Yeah, I think that's something we could consider as like we maybe like develop groups or figure out seedings, right?
Yeah.
Like I mean, like logically that could be another factor to just improve the quality of the tournament. I mean, the point of seeding is to create the most quality or fair and competitive tournament as possible. There's an aspect of that, but I don't think it'll be like there will be situations, unfortunately.
I was gonna say
in the next season that you're probably gonna end up having to schedule with weird time zones.
Mm-hmm.
So
I was also gonna say there's also on the off chance, like let's say there's 3 PST teams, and 2 of the 3 are like finished. They both finished top 4 during kickoff, so we legitimately cannot put them in the same group either. And like something like that, it could also happen. So it's you bring up a good point. It's something we could look at, and so something we could discuss and think about how we want to handle it, and we could specifically get back with you, Boy Savior, and see if we can find a happy medium. Yep. Yo, oh Jesus! But thank you for your input. We do appreciate it. I know that as a PST guy myself and fucking up all the time zones currently, still, it's something I would like to address. But Fire Nation, you are more than welcome to get up here.
Okay. Hello. This is like probably only for me, but just like I know for Rivals 3 I had to leave for basic training, but just like as like a military person with like the whole thing, is that like in the event that say I get deployed gonna be punishable for the team if I'm on one?
No. I mean,
like
as long as
if
they can have a sub for you, they can play in your stead. That's all they really have to do.
Yeah.
Like it's not even really.
I know.
I can't punish you for going to do something you have to do, brother.
That was just like something. I know I left a team, Rivals 3 for that, but
it's something we could discuss. It's like obviously like, and that's something that like you could easily DM one of us too, and like we'll be. Trust me, we are very understanding people here.
Yeah, and like that's kind of like who we want people, like the type of people to play Rivals, people who need some sort of flexibility. We have subs and stuff for a reason, right? So like we're literally hoping to make Rivals something suitable for people exactly like you.
All right. That's all I really had.
No worries. Thank you very much for contributing. We appreciate it. All right, Rise, this is your last one, brother. Get up here. All right, I'm curious to see what this one's about. All right, what's this one about?
Not a question, but a suggestion for the time thingy. This is what John said because John didn't want to say it. He said that you should create like a thing where I see that during Rival sign up, you could include a time what times you're during Noble, and this would help group teams on that. Like you create a little group mainly around people who could actually play against each other because of their times actually fit. You know what I mean?
I guess that would be more so after the teams are created, because like obviously when you're trying to create your teams, you're trying to like you don't want to YRM it or whatever team name was FRM it, where you only have availabilities from Tuesday from 7 to 9, or whatever Tuesdays after 9 or something like that. Like you're gonna do a vetting process. It's something we could probably. It's definitely something that we could like think about and incorporate, and like maybe try and get the times for teams after you guys play your kickoffs, because remember we're trying to make these groups after kickoff so that way we can make it fair, so like the teams that look good will be placed with other like not we're trying to make sure that all the groups are even.
Yeah, and like to add on to that, right, where it's kind of just like with all these time zones and making groups even, I'll be honest, this solution will be easier to figure out if we have more people joining the server. So it's like having more teams might have more situations where we could literally like maybe if we have enough teams have brackets based on time zones and stuff. So I mean, if anything, this means if you know people or if you play Valorant, even out, a lot of people here play other games, right? Who also want to play Valorant, right? Ask them, right? If we can make this community stronger, we could appease for these more niche groups.
Yeah. Okay. Can we do a LAN? Like a LAN where we go somewhere? Play
Brother.
with each other?
Alrighty. Back to the audience you go. If you guys can find a way, you guys couldn't even find a way to come up with $1 or $2 for Clash, so I don't know how you guys are going to be able to fund a land. All right. Oh, John Boba. Let's see what he has to say. What do you have to say?
Can I begin rules against like Goyam competing like Kesfui? Like Kesfui.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, once again, if we want higher prize pools and stuff, right, we need more data. And if we need more data, we need more people. So that means, once again, especially you guys as core members, if you know people, feel free to invite more people, create more teams, and etc.
All right, I'm slaving away at work trying to see if I can increase the Rivals prize pool even more for this upcoming season. Rise, I swear to God. All right, Rise, this is your last and final thing.
Can we bring back Blix?
If Blix wants to join
what
back
do you mean
after
bring back?
That guy.
If Blix comes back after revealing everything that's happened, we'll
I thought you banned.
Bring him back.
Never mind.
He's just
he's
left,
not
bro.
banned. He left, bro.
I wonder why.
All right. If there's no one new that's gonna do that wants to say anything, I appreciate everyone for attending Town Hall. I'll post a VOD of this a little later. I'll upload it to my YouTube. But I appreciate everyone for coming, contributing, listening. Well, I don't know. Anything to add, Algebra?
No, I mean, once again, thank you for people who came up. Thank you for people who just simply are listening, right? And we hope to continue these town halls. We'll have other ways for you guys to communicate, right? I mean, once again, I do think this new iteration of Rivals 4 will be more community first, right? And I do think we need your help because we got a lot of work to do, but we also want to make sure that this next Rivals is the best Rivals we'll ever have.
Yep. Thank you all. All right, I'm going to end it.